So, out of all the scriptures that I could have chosen, I chose the same one we used last week, right? Did you notice that? Yeah, the same exact passage. Well, I want to give you a little clue of what is going on here, how the Spirit of God is working among us. So you see, the worship commission they were planning the services, and okay, we're going to do a series on being our neighbor and loving our neighbors. And so they came up with a list of different folks that they would hope would speak into that. And one of those people on the list was our neighbor, Brittany Kiefer. And she was here last week and gave a good message, a powerful message. It was so good that many of you were compelled, you wanted to hear more. You were intrigued by her life story, intrigued by her message, and you wanted to hear more. Now, when we offered her a day to speak, we gave her a full range, and she says, I'll take the first day. We had no idea what a tremendous start that was, to have our neighbors speaking to us on being a good neighbor. And so God was at work. He was moving among us, and I think He is continuing to work among us today. Won't you pray with me? Lord God, as we bow our heads, we open our hearts and our minds. Speak to us today. May your Spirit move among us so that we can go deeper in your word and understand more fully what it means to love our neighbor. Do your good work among us. We pray in Jesus' name. So in many ways, Brittany was the man in the parable, the one left lying by the side of the road. If you recall her story, there was abuse. And she really struggled in life. And it made her angry. And gave her an attitude. But she would have told us over and over, no one saw me. No one saw the struggle that was going on within her. Everyone saw her anger and her rebellion. They saw her behavior. She said, no one saw me. And then she reminded us that we need to learn to love as Jesus loved. You know, we're very much like that lawyer, right? We know to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind and strength. And we know the second piece is to love our neighbor as ourselves. And okay, we think we have it. We're good. Did you know the lawyer was looking for a loophole? He was not looking to see who he could love. He did not enter the neighborhood wanting to know what's going on and how he can connect with others around him. No. He was looking for a loophole. He wanted to have the stamp of approval of Jesus in his life. He did not want to be transformed. He did not want to change his ways. He just wanted to know that he was good with God. He was wearing the lens of magnifying glass, looking for a loophole. Then the priest came along, and what did he do? He came up and he said, no, I'm not going there. He knew that if this body was dead, he would be defiled. He'd have to go through a whole week-long process till he could get back to work. He was called by duty. He had better things. And so he avoided the situation. And the Levite looked, he walked over, he took a look, and then if he would have had a watch, I think he would have glanced at his watch. I don't have time for this. This looks too messy, too inconvenient. I better just keep going. How often do we love like that? How often is our love calculated and measured? And we only give just enough. We need to protect ourselves, right? We may look through the lens of safety glasses. Oh, is this activity safe to do? Well, maybe I should be cautious. I should back up a little bit. You know, there are other things that I need to do, and so we tend to be on our way. I think in Sunday school we're going to talk a little bit more about the time pressure that we feel and how our days are filled too much. And we may talk about Gary should have stopped to talk to his neighbor, but he had a lot of things planned, and he got in the house with 2 minutes to spare. How about that? That was a good day. I got everything done and got in the house in time. 2 minutes to spare. Oh, but I failed to take a few minutes to check in with a neighbor. Maybe the day wasn't so successful. Maybe I was wearing the wrong lens and not seeing through the eyes of Jesus. Excuse me. So Jesus saw differently, didn't he? When Jesus was preaching to the crowds, 5,000 people on the hillside, the disciples looked and saw the people, and they looked at themselves. Oh, we're tired and we're hungry. They're hungry too. We should send them away. How did Jesus look at them? Does anyone know? He looked on them. Eric, you almost waved your hand at the wrong time there. Oh, he says no. Jesus looked at them with compassion. We need to look at others with a heart of compassion, not looking at ways in which we can get out of this obligation, not looking at ways that we can protect ourselves, not looking for a loophole. We need to love others with compassion. So for the lawyer and the priest and the Levite, I wonder if these words of Jesus would apply. From Matthew 25, he says, "When did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you?" They're asking a question. We never saw that. That didn't happen. We never noticed you around us. And Jesus said, yes, I was there. I was present. I was there in the least of these, but you did not see me. Too often we wear blinders in life. I know I do. Especially when it's haymaking time. Sandy would say I have my head stuck in a hay bale. can only see one thing. I wear blinders. So time and convenience is a blinder. Another blinder can be behavior. When a person has a different lifestyle, they think and act differently. They come from a different culture. Their expectations in life are different from ours. Or maybe they're simply acting out the anger and frustration and bitterness that has accumulated in their heart. And the anger can be a barrier. And we who have a good foundation in life, we take a look at that and we take a step backward. We distance ourselves because it looks too dangerous and too messy and too different from what we can relate to. A person's behavior can cause a barrier so that we don't even see them, that we overlook them. Instead of leading with love, we lead with suspicion and mistrust and judgment. We keep our distance. We want to avoid guilt by association. We too, like the priest and the Levite, pass by on the other side. And then we arrive clean and spotless and right on time, having our lives all together while leaving a trail of unseen persons by the side of the road. Did you know that when you see others, you remind them that God notices? You remind them that God sees them also, that they are valued, that they are worth loving, that they are worthy. When we see others with compassion, it helps them carry the load, helps them realize that they are not in this alone. They have someone to walk with them, that their struggles matter, and that someone cares. By simply noticing someone and connecting with them, you have the ability to renew their hope and to fill them with courage and help them take the next step. You know, we talk about being the hands and feet of Jesus, but I believe we need to be the eyes of Jesus as well. Eyes that notice the hours of long sacrifice, of someone caring for their aging parents. Eyes that notice the courage of someone walking alone after losing a spouse. When we bear the eyes of Jesus, we notice the struggle of a single parent or one trying to manage holiday schedules and visitation. We look around and we can see those who struggle with their health issues and others who face rejection or injustice or disappointment. When we see with compassion, when we see with the eyes of Jesus, we help others cling to hope in Jesus. And we build up their faith in the Almighty. Help them to find joy and purpose in life. And when we do that, we offer them the value of community. For you see, we do live in community, and we were made for connections. And so loving our neighbors seeing them and actually noticing them, paying attention, being connected with them, allows us to share life deeply with them. And that is a gift. That is a gift that is being trampled by our culture. It's being trampled by independence and individualism and the divisive nature of our culture. I believe the priest and the Pharisee, the priest and the Levite, they were doing what was expected of their culture. The Samaritan, he was the one breaking the mold. He was the one willing to love in spite of barriers of race and nationality, barriers of prejudice. At that moment, it did not matter for him. He saw a person in need, and he took action. That is what we are called to do. And that's what Jesus would have done. In the Message Bible, it tells us what Jesus did in John. It says, and the Word became flesh, and he came and moved into our neighborhood. I like that. The Word became flesh, and he dwelt among us, but the Message Bible says he moved into our neighborhood. What would it be like to have Jesus as a neighbor? Think about that. If Jesus moved into your neighborhood, would that change things? Or what if he has already moved into your neighborhood about 18 months ago, and you're just now realizing, I never got to meet him. I never stopped over. I never took brownies or produce and said, hey, it's good to meet you. That would be a shame, wouldn't it? That would be the classic case of Matthew 25. When did we see you sick or hungry in prison and failed to visit you? We didn't see you. We need to love with compassion. We need to love as Jesus loved. I notice in the bulletin, we have a list of names that we pray for. Many have health concerns, and they're listed right there in front of us. Names in which we know, names in which we're connected with those people. Well, guess what? There is a far greater community around us. Names in which of people that they too have health concerns. They too have struggles in life. I ask you, who is praying for them? Who is noticing those all around us that live next door, those that we drive on by? Who is praying for them? Brothers and sisters, this is our calling. To love those God has placed in your pathway. To care for them and to walk for them. Do you know the difference between a missionary and someone who stays local? A missionary has the sense that they are on a mission. And because of that, they see differently. They enter the community, they enter the markets, they enter the stores, and they are looking for people who need connections. They are looking for people who need someone to love them. They are looking with the lens, with the eyes of Jesus. They're not looking to build their business or acquire more land or be successful. They are looking to faithfully love those around us. So last Sunday, if you had a chance in Sunday school, remember we did a little map and we wrote down names of those who lived directly around us. Now's the time to begin praying for those people, to allow God to open up your heart. Let it burst forth with compassion. A genuine love that is concerned about the welfare of those around you. For you see, once you begin praying daily, you'll be aware. And you will live with an expectancy of God is about to move and do something tangible through you and I. We must love as Jesus loved. So who is it that God is placing in your life? I challenge you to ask that question of God each day. Lord, who would you place in my life? Who would you have me be in connection with so that I can love them as you would love them? So I can be present, so I can listen, I can care, I can offer a helping hand. Who would you have me love today? Begin praying that prayer. Allow God to open your eyes and love others as Jesus loves. Amen.